When red light cameras are watching your every move, each second counts, determining whether you get by or get slapped with a $50 ticket. But now a News Channel 3 investigation is uncovering cities taking away precious yellow light time after their cameras are installed, increasing your chances of becoming a red light runner.
It's a no-win situation.
Case in point, the city of Norfolk. For years, their yellow lights have been 4 seconds long. But once their red light cameras went up this past November, drivers lost 1 full second trying to make a left-hand turn at St. Paul's Boulevard and Brambleton Avenue. Just 3 lousy seconds to make it through this intersection. Over at Chesapeake Boulevard and Little Creek Road, drivers lost up to 0.8 of a second. What are they doing that for?
Well, I think the answer is obvious. That is, it's a monetary reward system.
Gary Byler is a local attorney who's taken red light camera cases to court in other cities. And when we showed him Norfolk's new yellow light times,
if the proper interval was 4 seconds before, it makes no sense that you would reduce it when you set up to enforce. If anything, you would give a little grace.
Norfolk's new shortened yellow lights may look like a trap, but technically they are still legal because they strictly adhere to VDOT's minimum yellow light guidelines. VDOT updated their yellow light formula in January of 2013. It allows cities to set the yellow lights at left-hand turn lanes shorter than those of straight lanes because drivers are expected to slow down. In Newport News, that formula change allowed city engineers to lower many of their yellow lights last year. On Mercury Boulevard and Jefferson Avenue, a 3.6-second left turn yellow light went down to just 3.2 seconds.
The yellow lights there in the left turn lane there are too short.
Newport News resident Rick Johnson says he got caught by a similar red light trap at Jefferson Avenue and Oyster Point Road.
64% of the citations being issued at that intersection are for people doing exactly the same movement I did, turning left.
Johnson actually took his case against the city to court, but because Newport News follows the VDOT guidelines, he lost.
It all seems unfair to me.
But not all Hampton Roads cities are playing dirty. Does Virginia Beach try to trap people in running these red lights?
Everything we do about our PhotoSafe program works towards the benefit of the driver. We give them more time on our lights than we're required to do. We exceed the minimums in every aspect.
Sergeant Dan Fiore is the Virginia Beach Police Department's red light camera program coordinator. And he says right now, there is no yellow light in the entire city of Virginia Beach less than 4 seconds. Some go as high as 5 seconds.
This program is today, it has been in the past, and will always be in the future about traffic safety.
It's important to note that VDOT's minimum yellow light guidelines allow room for engineering judgment.
There's the camera.
That's why beach traffic engineer George Hardin says he chose to keep the city's yellow light times longer.
You had the ability to actually lower your yellow light times at your left-hand turn lanes. Why didn't you do that?
It was safer. Felt like it was a safer decision for the motoring public.
The city of Chesapeake followed in Virginia Beach's footsteps and kept their yellow lights longer as well. Their statistics clearly show that when yellow light times go up, citations go down. When Chesapeake's yellow lights jumped just half a second in 2013, tickets decreased by almost 58%. Comparing that to Norfolk's bare minimum yellow lights, in the first month of red light camera enforcement, more than 1,000 tickets were printed. At that rate, Norfolk is on track to more than double Chesapeake citations for the year.
The people that put the cameras up get paid. The city gets paid.
All while drivers lose.
Now, we asked Norfolk and Newport News to explain to News Channel 3 why they chose to lower their yellow times while other cities raised them, but both declined our requests for an on-camera interview, refusing to explain their decisions to the public. Lori Simmons, News Channel 3.
It could be the biggest money-making scheme ever.
Every city in the world actually uses the same formula.
Red light cameras synced with short yellow lights, making it physically impossible for drivers to avoid a ticket.
Laws of physics are unbreakable. Yeah.
Meet Brian Ceccarelli and Dr. Joseph Shovlin. Both are physicists living in Raleigh, North Carolina. And together, they are leading the charge against the red light camera industry's cash cow, short yellows.
They're catching people who are not running the red lights on purpose. and in many cases it's beyond their control.
To explain the yellow light trap, Ceccarelli and Shovlin took News Channel 3 to an intersection in Raleigh with red light cameras. If drivers have a proper yellow light time,
They have time to either stop without entering the intersection safely and comfortably, or else they have time to proceed through it before it turns red.
but in reality, it never happens because Ceccarelli and Shovlin say yellow lights, especially in turn lanes, are just too short for the distance needed to travel, creating what's called a dilemma zone for drivers.
If you're in this zone when the light turns yellow, you do not have the distance to stop, nor do you have the time to proceed while the light is still yellow. You will run a red light. You have no choice.
The root of the problem, they say, comes down to this formula, endorsed by the Institute of Traffic Engineers and used both in Virginia and North Carolina.
Because the formula it only works for straight through lanes.
Not left-hand turn lanes, yet traffic engineers still use it, inadvertently trapping drivers.
You're hosed. The light will turn red before you enter the intersection. You will enter the intersection a fraction of a second, and the red light camera's got you.
So how did hundreds of thousands of traffic engineers around the country get bamboozled by this so-called incorrect formula?
This is Physics 101. You as an engineer should know this. I shouldn't have to explain Newton's laws of motion to you.
In 1959, the first yellow light formula was created by 3 physicists. But in 1965, Ceccarelli and Shovlin say that formula was miscopied into the Institute of Traffic Engineers handbook.
The Traffic Engineering Handbook is like the Bible that traffic engineers use. Once you get into the Traffic Engineering Handbook, they're like the words of God. The traffic engineers don't know any better. That's the problem. And so the red light camera companies come in and simply take advantage of the situation.
Like here in Hampton Roads, this 3-second left-hand turn yellow light at St. Paul's and Brambleton in Norfolk should really be 5.4 seconds, according to Ceccarelli and Shovlin. At the intersection of Jefferson and Oyster Point in Newport News, their 3.2-second yellow should be at least 6.1 seconds. And the 4.2-second yellow light at Independence and the Boulevard in Virginia Beach should be at least 7.6 seconds.
The light is really like 2 or 3 seconds short of what it should be for turning traffic. And because Mother Nature doesn't like to be fooled that way, that'll force many, many drivers to run red lights.
While local cities, along with the red light camera companies, cash in.
For 40 years, the errors were there, but nobody knew about it. It's not until you put the red light cameras in that are running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
The name, Aaron Rosenberg. It's peppered throughout these letters, emails, and contracts connected to the red light camera programs in Virginia Beach, Chesapeake, and Newport News. Documents uncovered by News Channel 3 show Rosenberg played a part in getting each of these cities to hire his former company, Redflex, to run their red light camera programs. And now that man says he has bribed city officials in at least 13 states, leading federal officials to start a corruption investigation into Redflex's bidding practices. Aaron Rosenberg says the company knew what he was doing all along, and in a court filing even named Virginia as one of the states that he spent company money to influence local officials. But neither he nor his lawyer have confirmed to News Channel 3 if he ever bribed any city officials in Hampton Roads. Virginia Beach, Chesapeake, Norfolk, and Newport News all currently have contracts with Redflex. News Channel 3 got our hands on copies of those contracts and the bids that led up to them. And we are now uncovering that Redflex, the company at the center of this bribery and corruption investigation, had a hand in which intersections were picked to be camera enforced. Virginia Beach police have always told News Channel 3 the program is about traffic safety, and the city picked intersections based on that.
We only found 13 intersections in which we thought at the time cameras would benefit us in traffic safety.
But in Virginia Beach's contract with Redflex, the company says it's their evaluation process that selects intersection approaches where our program can have the greatest impact. They explain their formula further in this Redflex bid document turned into the city of Chesapeake. A professor from Texas A&M developed a violation calculator for the company, so Redflex can determine how many citations will be issued annually for a certain intersection. Remember these guys?
All the red light cameras take vigil where most traffic has to slow down before entering the intersection.
Brian Ciccarelli and Dr. Joseph Shovlin are two Raleigh-based physicists who say it's no mistake that traffic cameras show up at intersections with high traffic volume, lots of lanes, and near major commercial centers where car approach speeds are slower. It all can be found in black and white in Redflex's violation calculator criteria.
Any reason why traffic has to slow down into the intersection adds to the money you can make.
In this scope of work document from the city of Chesapeake, it says the contractor recommends the optimal sites for camera placement. From there, the city makes the final decision. In Virginia Beach, the same method applied. Police say they were given 40 intersections to consider and picked 13. But in the end, all have been given the Redflex stamp of approval by their accurate and robust violation calculator.
Is a trap.
It seems a News Channel 3 investigation into short yellow lights stung inside Norfolk City Hall. As of Friday, this 3-second yellow light at St. Paul's Boulevard and Brambleton Avenue, lowered right before red light cameras were installed, went back up to 4 seconds. Over at Chesapeake Boulevard and Little Creek Road, drivers today also had 4 seconds instead of the 3.2 seconds they had yesterday. All after News Channel 3 got results. In an email from the Norfolk City spokeswoman, she criticized our reporting. As we repeatedly told you, Norfolk followed VDOT policy, yet the story created the perception the city is out to make money. What she won't admit is that according to VDOT, their policy only sets minimum yellow light times. Cities can choose to keep them higher if they want, and now that is what Norfolk has chosen to do. We have reset the times to remove any misperception. This is about safety, not about money. And News Channel 3 just learned today that Newport News, another city that lowered yellow light times last year, will be re-evaluating their intersections to see if they need to change their lights as well.
Anything that causes drivers to slow down just before entering the intersection is a trap.
Raleigh physicist Brian Ciccarelli and Dr. Joseph Shovlin told News Channel 3 this week that cities like Norfolk and Newport News have been using the wrong yellow light formula all along.
The traffic engineers believe that they can set the left turn lanes to a shorter yellow light duration than the straight through lanes. That's an error in physics.
They say these yellow light times should be even higher, at least 5.4 seconds at the St. Paul's and Brambleton intersection, and over at Chesapeake and Little Creek Road, 6.1 seconds. But even though the science tells us you still need more time, at least News Channel 3 gave you a little bit of relief for now. Taking action and getting results, Lori Simmons, News Channel 3. It's a battle no one in Virginia has been able to win. That is, until today, when a Norfolk judge decided to throw out the red light camera ticket of Navy sailor David Butler.
He didn't believe that was fair and voted in favor for me and acquitted me of the charge.
And Butler gives all the credit to News Channel 3. Our taking action investigation into red light cameras in Norfolk showed how the city shortened yellow light times on the very day enforcement started. So after the cameras snapped his car running a right turn red light here at Chesapeake Boulevard and Little Creek Road, he went into court armed with evidence.
Here's investigator Lori Simmons.
WTKR Channel 3, Lori Simmons actually found a news report on the internet, and I presented it to the judge showing him that yes, they changed that light timing phase 3/8 of a second lower without any cause, justification.
The judge even subpoenaed Norfolk's assistant city traffic engineer for the case, grilling him in open court. Was it just coincidental the timing of the lights was shortened the day the cameras started? Did it have anything to do with revenue? Do you see how this looks?
He wanted to know why, what specifics, who gave him authorization, and why they thought they needed to reduce it.
In the end, the judge not only threw out Butler's red light camera ticket, but asked the city for the names of everyone who he convicted at that intersection in the past, because he will be throwing out their red light camera tickets as well.
Standing up there, I was pretty proud about it, and it's going to make a huge difference. It's a big win for the city and a big win for Channel 3's News Investigation Report.